All right, what a day indeed. There it is.
Okay, we're already live. We are live.
We are live, baby. Let's drop this in.
And he signed a Rod.
Is Rod here? Oh, yeah, there you go.
Oh, Rod's here. Where's Rod?
You hear me? Can you see me? Hey guys.
Hey, buddy.
What's up? What's happening, dudes?
We are live on YouTube.
Is Rod happy?
Happy as a clam at a clam bake.
Do you have your reading?
New England style clam bake. Yeah, I do.
I gotta find a script here.
You didn't get it from the kitchen?
I like Eddie's hat. What's going on with that?
Oh, that's the Shrine of St. Jude. These guys got it for me.
It's rad. I like the logo is like giant. Like takes
Yes,
that over.
it's an amazing hat that only gets brought out mostly for the show, to be honest, because Steven and Darrell bought it for me.
Yeah, that thing's got girth to it, dude.
It's huge. It's like Elmer Fudd baseball hat.
All right. How you doing on your coffee? I got a pouch. I'll give it to you today.
Thanks, man. We are.
Are you guys caffeinated? Oh yeah, you got something going.
One coming right now.
Trust deep.
Ed loves it hot, so we have to shut off the AC.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
He likes to sweat, like
you doing some
spent
jujitsu,
time in India with.
or like you and I in that sauna where you guys chop it up
That's
about
right.
jujitsu.
That's
Oh.
it.
He said he likes doing hot yoga.
I think Rod does.
In a loincloth.
My son does love the hot yoga these days.
It's better when you have nipple rings, though.
Oh yeah, you get
The
chained.
nipple rings get hot in the yoga.
Oh, okay. I thought maybe you were doing some moves where you chain them to the ceiling.
Yes.
Does Rod know we're live?
Oh yeah, we're live on
Oh,
YouTube right
come
now.
on. Seriously, you guys didn't tell me this? Oh, my
I did, but you didn't hear me. You were too caught up in fame.
It happens to me every time.
All right, well let's get started.
Hang on, we got hit. Oh, this is
Stop my
ready to
video?
go?
Yeah, you can stop your video and your audio, and we'll see you in about half an hour.
Have fun.
We'll do.
Welcome to The Funniest Thing,
Yes.
where each week we share stories about how stepping out boldly always leads to better than expected outcomes.
Yes, it does.
I'm Darrell,
I'm Ed.
and we're broadcasting live from middle school studios in beautiful downtown Culver City, the heart of Screenland.
That's right.
And today we have a great show.
Strap on your shrine hats, if you will. I got my St. Jude hat on, standing tall, because we're going to make the best of it with actor Rod Sweitzer. Have faith in your own faith. Have faith in enough in yourself to believe that you really have enough faith to move mountains, because you do. A frontier is never a place. It is the moments when we've stepped out boldly and trusted God. We all have the power to raise the dead. The problem is that we continue to doubt it. On this episode, Darrell and Ed motivate listeners to actively experiment with the application of faith as a practical superpower, the power to transform reality with belief. And during the second segment, actor Rod Sweitzer motivates us to utilize our divine ability to make the best of every situation with today's reading. Miracles occur naturally without worry.
Yeah, they do.
They do indeed. Was the reading you sent me, is that the one that Rod's going to read later that you just read to me?
No, that's actually a good reading to kick off the show.
Let me tell them about where the title came from, and then we'll tell them about the description a little bit too. The book I'm almost finished reading is Fear Not, Messages of Assurance from Martha Smock. It's an amazing book. It's
short
readings, which is what we love. And I'll just read 2 pages of it at a time, like Darrell recommends sometimes, because it has the medicine. Martha Smock is one of those teachers that is very
direct.
Specific and direct to unity. Is what I was going to say. Like to the the really good Unity writers who are simple and make it just seem light, and it's not like you have to overly work your mind because
No.
God is good and everything. All we got to do is get into the flow of the
Yes.
situation, and God will do the rest. And she says, so this chapter, this reading is called "Make the Best of It," which is where I said, Darrell, this is a great idea for a title. And it says, we make the best of it when we know that God works through us, that our hands are God's hands through which God works, through which God gives. She says, people, and I can vouch for this for myself, have literally changed their lives by changing their thinking, by determining to make the best of it instead of bewailing their lot. Like the prodigal son, they came to themselves and remembered their divine heritage as children of God. If you have something to meet that seems to be beyond you, take your stand in faith. Make the best of it. Know that God's power in you is mighty, and that through his power you can meet all things. It does not matter what the appearances are. God is in the situation. Good in this situation. Good is in the situation. In fact, God is good. That's another word for God is good, and it's actually the only thing that's real about the situation. Fear not. You can make the best of it. And then when they say fear not, it's not like a nice little...
I mean, stop worrying.
Like unhook from fear.
Yeah, stop worrying.
Stop worrying.
You don't need to worry if you just dive in, commit to believing this is going to work out for good.
Yeah, sometimes I look myself in the eye nowadays doing that mirror stuff and say, Ed, you don't have to fear anything. And then I realize it's not just like a cute little thing to stop fearing. It's like actually in the moment, stop thinking along fearful lines. Stop creating nightmares.
Yeah.
And she says, fear not, you can make the best of it. For God has made you for the best and has ordained only the best for you. So making the best of it is actually the most realistic thing you can do. It's actually tuning in to the best of our ability to what's actually going on.
Well, that's,
Yes.
Yeah, I'm glad you say it because most of us, when we hear make the best of it or making the best of it, is really when that's usually said is, I guess I'll make the best of it, or you might as well make the best of it. It's taken as a statement of putting up with it. You know, I guess I'll make the best of it, meaning I guess I'll put up with this. But that's not what it means. It means make the best of it by changing this concerned way of looking at whatever pops up. I got a great example just from this morning.
Yeah.
And experiment with this as a practical scientific experiment in your own life, a spiritual scientific experiment where I am not going to allow myself to think any worried thoughts about this. I'm just going to think good and let's see what happens. And I could guarantee you will be pleasantly surprised. I used to be afraid to say that to people because I think, well, maybe for them it won't work out. But no, if you do it, it will work out. And this is from a book we recommend. It's Florence Scovel Shinn, The Magic Path of Intuition. And when you look for this book, you'll see that Hay House put an edition of this book out. And it's done in a very artistic layout. It's a hardcover and you know, the words get blended in with visuals. And it's, for me, and for some people, it's a little difficult to just enjoy the message. So we also recommend when you look it up, someone else, because there's no more copyright on these teachings, on these writings. They've gone beyond, their copyright has expired. So another individual put out the same book, only as a regular textbook. I'm holding it up if you're watching on YouTube. So I recommend this. If you like the visuals and the fancy font, go for it.
Yeah, colors, it's like pinks and purples.
Yeah, but for me, it gets in the way of the message for me. So if you have the book, this is Lesson 9, Infinite Intelligence, the Great Magician. Isn't that great?
Yes.
The Great Magician. Magic and miracle come from the same root word. Did you know that? Magic and miracle come from the same root word. The universal power, the great magician, changes a curse into a blessing, despair into joy, lack into plenty, sickness into health, etc. There is no limit to the good that God has prepared for man. And here's the key. Only doubt or unbelief shuts off the power within each man. However, faith turns the power on again, so it is necessary to do everything to develop faith in that power. Sometimes a new affirmation or new idea will suddenly give you the realization, which is manifestation. Once you get the good feeling idea in your mind, that's the manifestation, because that means your circumstances are going to match that. It means once the thought is correct in my mind and I'm feeling good about it now and anticipating how this is going to work out in a miraculous way, that means I'm going to get just that. So it goes on to say, in one of my classes, I explained that it is necessary to become as a little child in order to be a good demonstrator and bring in the element of play. Then I said, let us look upon the universal power as the great magician and draw out of his hat whatever we desire or require. And I just want to read one more thing here. This is from another book, which Darrell and Ed recommend. And it's called Scientific Christian Mental Practice by Emma Curtis Hopkins. You can get this online. All these books are available online or at used book websites. We recommend getting them used because then, not just because they're less expensive, but you'll see things marked up in them, right, Ed? That are like, holy cow, there's other people that were into this, and they're identifying with sometimes the same thing, or because they highlighted something that I kind of just read over, all of a sudden now I'm looking at it a little bit more closely, and I get something else out of it.
Yes.
So this is why we recommend doing a morning routine. And this is in that book that I just mentioned, Scientific Christian Mental Practice by Emma Curtis Hopkins. Have some special time to make the statement of being. So this means have a time of day, like we recommend in the morning, that you do your morning routine, that you think good thoughts. It's funny because right before the part I'm going to read, she writes the name Om because she gives a bunch of affirmations. God is love, omnipresent, omnipotent, omniscient. So she reminds us that the first two letters of those words, the name Om, was a name of God which ancient people in Asia used to repeat and do even repeat now. They hold their breath while speaking it. It means good beyond good, far beyond even our ideas of good. There is infinite good awaiting our words. So omnipresent, omnipotent, omniscient could just be definitions of Om. Isn't that funny?
Yes.
I never saw that before.
Yes. I was just reading about in that same book the other day about this. Yes.
So I'm going to read what I have highlighted here. Have some special time to make the statement of being. This will make you a great thinker. The mind of God will think through you. The words of God will speak through you. The joy of God will sing through you. The skill of spirit will work miracles through you. The judgment and beauty of God will inspire you. The love of God will melt the hard lot of mankind before you. You will be so one with your words that you will be able to say with Jesus Christ, I and the Father are one. You will drop off the garments of flesh. You will see that by speaking truth. And when she says, because a lot of us go, well, what is truth? What does speaking truth mean? And she makes it clear throughout this book, speaking truth means any good feeling, thoughts, and statements,
Yes.
and to not compromise
Yes.
in your desires.
Yes.
That's being blasphemous.
Yes.
When we don't want to just come out and say what it is we really want.
Yes.
And it says, you will see that by speaking truth, you are spirit, and that speaking truth, you are omnipotent, all powerful. And she gives an example earlier on, like if a man says, I just need a job, she says he's not telling the truth.
Right.
The truth is, I need support, meaning I need money and all the things that will support me financially, emotionally, spiritually. She says, just say that, go for that, and the opportunity will come to you. So just this morning, my wife had a photo shoot, Lori, very early in the morning. So she actually was up about the same time as I was doing my morning routine. She was all excited about her photo shoot because she has a great assistant today, which turns, a 4-hour photo shoot into a 2-hour photo shoot. When you're working with someone who's on the same wavelength. She leaves. About 5 minutes later, she's back, still joyful, saying, I have a flat tire. It's completely flat. I drove up to up the street and I saw on the indicator my low tire. So first of all, Lori gives me a great example of this approach to life, because I don't know how she was raised or what the circumstances were in her youth, but she doesn't have this subconscious torture chamber that when things like inconveniences happen, she has to really work her way out of them, like starting by cursing and then working her way out. So she goes, can I get your keys? And I said, sure. And I'm like, and I'm just amazed at this, because I'm thinking, holy cow, if that happened to me, I had a photo shoot, I got to be somewhere at a certain time, and now I have a flat, I'd be like, oh man,
Right.
oh boy, which is okay, because it's okay that we do that, because in doing that, for me, I immediately start to do what these books say to do, because I know if I continue to go, oh, this is hell, why does this happen? It's just going to make it worse. But it takes effort for me, where some people it doesn't take that much effort. Now, I'm not saying there aren't other things that Lori might confront that make it more difficult, that she would have to go through the same type of process. But in this particular incident, she was immune to it. She walking through it with impunity. Okay, I'll take your car. And I said, well, Davis Tires, the tire repair place, coincidentally was never open. It's been here for 40 years in town, half a mile from our house. Never open on Sundays until just Saturdays until just last month. Wow. Crazy. So I said, wait, Davis Tires is open now until 3. She goes, great. I'll be home way before then. I'll call AAA, have them fill it up with air, and I'll bring it over. I'm like, wow. And I said, well, I could do that because I had time before the show. So during the process, I'm applying making the best of it. This is what we mean by making the best of it. And because this was in my mind, and this is why we enjoy doing this show, because we actually live these things, and the show reinforces it in Darrell and Ed, so we get to really apply it. And it's funny because a lot of the things when we have an inspired idea for a show, it usually turns out that, that's the very thing we're going to need. So as I was getting ready, I started outlining, which is what we don't want to do. I started going, okay, I should call AAA now, go in the shower, because they take a long time. I said, Darrell, no, you're not going to think that way. God's in charge. Take a shower and then call them after the shower. And I didn't argue with these good thoughts.
Yeah, that's the best of it.
Yes.
Right? Because when we say the best of it, it doesn't mean just trying to make something that doesn't feel good. It means following your divine inspired ideas that tell you don't rush. Go take the shower. That's good for you. I just wanted to point that out.
Yes.
It's actually finding the good things and staying in the flow, but it's not always easy.
And don't scheme, because that's fear-based problem solving. Thinking, okay, let me plan this. I'll call them now because because this is negative thinking. Takes AAA at least a half hour to get to your location. No. So I go, take the shower, get dressed, everything. Don't rush. Didn't call them while the towel's still wrapped around me. I call them, and it was easy. They said, okay, they should be there. And it was like a 45-minute thing. So I said, perfect. I'm going to go walk Gidget. I start to leash up Gidget. Bloop. I get a text. AAA serviceman will be there in 15 minutes. Wow. I walk Gidget, I don't know, less than 100 yards. Bloop. I'm going to be there right away. So I said, okay, walk back with Gidget. And funniest thing, the one thing I'm walking her for is her poop, because it's the first walk of the day. Oh, yeah. So it's usually like a meandering, and then she decides to poop. As soon as I turned around, she went, I got to poop. It was incredible. And I just kept and with each one of these miracles, signs of land, I went in more with joy. And I go, wow, I'm going to meet some cool people today I wouldn't normally meet. The guy fills up the tire. I said, do you think I could drive this a half a mile to Davis Tire if you just put air in it? He fills it up. It's leaking. The leak just happened to be visibly where he could see it. I said, do you have one of those markers? Because I got one inside. He goes, I got a marker, to circle it. He goes, okay, there you go. He goes, yeah. So I said, do you think I can make it? He goes, yeah. I drive into Davis Tire, less than a half a mile away. All the lights are green, of course, because I'm thinking good thoughts. I'm not going against it. And that's working with the great magician. Thinking good is aligning ourselves with the God power. Yeah. I even told myself early in the shower when I started planning, trying to scheme again, I said, no, Darrell, you can't think anything negative about this. You have to live by faith. Thinking good. As soon as I pull in, there's a man there motioning me into the bay. He doesn't even know what's wrong with my car. Come right in here. I tell him the problem. I said, if it needs a new tire, fine. If not, if you could patch it, great. I go inside. 20 minutes later, I'm done. I'm paid. I'm home. We also had tree trimming here, and they came at 8:30. And I said, they'll be done in time by the show, even though I got 7 palm trees. And sure enough, they wound up exactly in time for Darrell and Ed to set up for the show. But this momentum built and becomes more and more delightful because I didn't buy into the race mind and my tendency, all of our tendencies, to agree with this is a problem. Why'd this have to happen?
Yeah.
I just bought new tires. How much is this going to cost me? We also read in here that God's our prosperity. So the palm trees were $700 a year ago. 6 months ago, it went up to $1,000. So I said, how much? $1,300. And you know what? I said, okay. And I jumped on board with the delight that God is my prosperity. And by not seeing this and the temptation is there, go, oh no, I'm going to have to make some more. I'm going to have to make some money to make this up. I said, no, this means it's coming. It doesn't mean I have to start thinking that way. Because if I start thinking, I'm going to need to make some money. No, that is exactly what Florence Scovel Shinn says here. I just want to read this one line again. Only doubt or unbelief shuts off the power within each man. However, and I had that doubt, however, faith turns the power on again. So it is necessary to do everything to develop faith in that power. And here's the key. As soon as I thought, I don't need to come up with I got to make some money. How am I going to make money? And jumped into, no, the money's going to come. The great feeling of the money is going to come is so good that it makes me convinced to my own inner self that this is the real way to live. And I've proven this. And now I'm already getting excited because I'll be calling Ed. Who knows? Could be a week from now, a day from now, it could be tomorrow. It could be 6 months from now, I'm going, Ed, guess what happened?
Yep. I was thinking of reading this thing from Evan Fox. I've been reading the Sermon on the Mount. I highly recommend it. If you've never read it and you're into metaphysics, this stuff really does originate in the teachings of Jesus Christ, but in the true sense of what those teachings mean as parables and lessons and principles to live by. And I've been going through it bit by bit, and for some reason, the part that I was thinking about reading is about where he says, like, we're instructed not to make any vows to, like, I realize it's about scheming, right? Like,
Yes.
it's not a vow, I'm going to work harder now. It's like, what he
No,
says.
that's scheming, yes.
Oh, so
It's worrying and scheming. It's a deadly combo.
Right. And the reason is it cuts us off from the living, what we're calling God, flowing presence now, which will actually be the answer. Because he says it's an absolutely vital part of his teaching that you are constantly to seek direct inspirational contact with God, constantly to keep yourself an open channel for the pouring out of the Holy Spirit into manifestation through you. Now, this is where it becomes mystical. To even believe that there is something there that wants to pour through you, you have to become like a child and start to experiment with this mystical truth. Now, if you make up your mind in advance as to what you shall do or not do, shall believe or not believe, shall think or shall not think, shall be or shall not be, tomorrow or next year or for the rest of your life, and especially when you crystallize this determination by a solemn act or the will like a vow, you are not leaving yourself open to the Spirit.
Yes.
But you are, by that very act, shutting him out. And that's why...
That's that outlining I was catching myself doing. If I do this, okay, I'll call them now. Then I'll take a shot. But see, it's fear-based problem solving.
Yeah, and it's projecting an idea that there's lack and I'm going to overcome it at the same time. And that's why I always see other people, and I know for myself, it's like, if you're facing something, it's better to not, if I can, let go of that impulse to go, I'll never do that thing again. I'll never, because that's like a vow, and that's not even what it's about. The reason I do things that I don't feel inspired by is because I'm not making direct connection with God, with inspire. So it's better to say to myself, you know what, I'm going to make an effort now to connect with God more and trust God more, and that will always lead me in the right direction. And couple other things, like one of the things that we're talking about is the use of our imagination. I really recommend this book. Darrell recommended it. I started reading it, Creative Responsibility by C. Thomas Sicking.
Great book, folks.
It says your imagination is powerful. Use it creatively to build your life the way you want your life to be. And that's why making the best of it and taking time in your imagination to expect the best, even if you don't know what it means. How are you going to feel? What are you like when you're in the flow? How do you feel when you're in the flow? Your subconscious mind so this is it right here. Your subconscious mind directs your nervous system, yet it cannot distinguish between an actual event and an event that is vividly imagined in the conscious mind. So when I sit there and imagine how bad it is, and then me imagining how I'm going to overcome it, my nervous system is experiencing all of that. It's like, and it says your subconscious and your nervous system respond to what you imagine or believe to be true, not necessarily to what is actually true. Because if you study Edmund Curtis Hopkins and metaphysics long enough, you will see only the good is real.
Yeah, only the good is truth.
Only the best is true.
Yeah.
Set aside, and then he recommends visualizing things, vividly imagine yourself achieving the goal, setting itself, like literally set some, if you can do this, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, just set some, it's not going to make sense because your old subconscious worried mind is going to keep telling you it's not worth it, but do it anyway.
Do it anyway.
Just have some fun imagining like the highest good, not a compromised version, but the highest good. It says the more detailed and involved you can get in your imagination, the more effectively you will attain the goal. God gave you your imagination and is yours to help you have what you want in life. So use it. Use it consciously and use it creatively for your good. So
wait, I just found out this week from a podcast I've been listening to called This Jungian Life, and then we're talking, it's Carl Jung, and they brought up St. Ignatius.
Yes.
Now, this saint was actually killed by the church. I mean, he's a saint now. And that's the crazy part, because he was a proponent of using your imagination creatively, which is, he was actually basically just saying what Jesus taught, imagining the best and believing you already have it. Well, the church didn't like that. But then, like, I guess 300 years later, they went, he was a saint.
Right. Yeah. You know, so before we go to the break, I just want to share like that. I've had these interesting like physical symptoms coming up, and but not so like, not really that bad, like kind of minor little things. But my old mind was so fear driven, especially around physical health. And I didn't really realize this when I first started having, my intuition kept telling me, there's nothing wrong with you. You don't need to go anywhere. You don't need to go to the doctor. You don't need to do anything. And Darrell was helping me see that, because sometimes when we're used to making mountains out of molehills or making real what's fake, it's helpful to have someone else who's on outside of it, because when we're in that situation, it's saying our subconscious mind, if we've been imagining something to be true, it doesn't matter if it's true or not. If we've been imagining it for a long time, it could be challenging to shake ourselves out of that belief system, you know. But the more I've just said, like I even told myself, look, I'll go to the doctor, but I'm just not going to rush there out of fear. Like first I want to just treat this concern, because I know that if I used to tell my son this when I say he wanted ice cream when he was like 3 or whatever, he would start going, if he started going, I want ice cream, I would say, I'm not taking you you sound like that's going to make you upset. I'm not going to get you ice cream. And if he would calm down and then relax and go, just go, all right, Dad, can we just go get some ice cream? I go, oh, now I'll go take you to get it. And we'd go get it. You know, and because what I was teaching him is how to ask in an inspired way, not to do what I learned to do, which is like cry and beg and plead to try to get what you want, because that doesn't work in reality.
No,
we'll actually get more lack because God is not sitting there waiting for us to beg and plead. Life is waiting for us to align with inspiration.
Yeah.
We don't even have to exactly know what it is, but if we just trust God is working on it. Right now, God is taking care of it. It's already taken care of. This is the difference between, we don't compromise with fear. When I really get into this power is when I realize none of it's real. No matter, even if I've been believing it for all day or a week, I come back to realizing I shake myself out of it. And using the mirror work that we've talked about recently, which is looking yourself in the eye, telling myself I approve of myself, telling myself you don't have to hold on to that, telling myself that's your imagination, telling myself the stuff that I really need to hear, and it's starting to really, really work. Because today, when I woke up 4 a.m., where I've been waking recently, my mind waking me up, I felt the angst. I felt perfectly physically
Healthy,
perfect.
yeah.
And then I felt that worry. And I've noticed lately by practicing this stuff, the symptom, the tension, all that stuff it's not that the tension happens and then the thoughts come. It can feel like that because it happens so quick, but it's actually those thoughts.
Yes.
We're creating these external symptoms, which will match whatever you're afraid you have.
Yes.
It'll start to match. So what my intuitive voice, because I've been practicing this lately, told me, you don't have to get up, Ed. It's just your imagination. So instead of getting up right away and meditating, I just laid in bed and went back to appreciating how soft my bed is, appreciating how much I love my wife, appreciating how great my life is.
Yes.
And then eventually I did get up and meditate and just went back to only the good is real. Because this is where some version of humility too is to be able to say, all this bad stuff is just in my imagination, and I'm willing to be wrong about it. I'm so happy to let that go because I trust that only the good is real, only the best is real. So, I just want to say there's one weird symptom, which was I would get itchy, a little bit itchy, and it was like my old fearful mind was like, that's because of it was making up prognosis as to why that itchiness was happening. But I just had to tell myself, I don't really know why that's happening. I don't that fear, putting on a doctor's coat and coming up with some assessment of whatever you call
prognosis.
it. Prognosis.
Diagnosis.
What I learned is if I act out of that fear, I'll find a doctor who will confirm the fear.
Diagnosis Moida.
Moida. But
Diagnosis, you were doing Diagnosis
Diagnosis
Murph.
Moida, the new hit TV show starring Darrell and Ed. But what I'm learning is if I treat the concern, because I was thinking if I'm going to go to a doctor, I want to go in there knowing I'm going to get the perfect doctor.
Yes.
Not going, oh, like I used to treat the doctor like I was going to penance. I'm so sorry. Will you help me? Now I'm not doing any of that. But what happened today, what I remembered, because what's happening as I don't act out of that some of that physical stuff is just a distraction from what I'm really afraid of or whatever is.
Yeah.
And so what I just remembered when I was younger, I used to have allergies really bad. And a lot of that was just because I'm a sensitive person and I was overwhelmed by life. But I didn't have, and I don't blame anyone because whatever. I didn't have anyone sit me down and go, Ed, there's nothing wrong with you. If you relax, all of this will evaporate. But getting back in touch with that by not running to the doctor this time and just being that voice for myself, I feel like I'm healing. I'm reconnecting with who I really am.
Yeah.
Now I'm healing stuff that was, mental stuff was with me from a long time ago. But it's evaporating because I'm stepping out boldly. And in order for me to make the next steps, I need my sensitive person on board. I need my creativity on board. And so it's just amazing how when we make the best of it, not the worst. And that's why I love there was one line where she said, where in that reading, that really hits home. And you just got to be honest with yourself if you're doing it. People have literally changed their lives by changing their thinking, by determining to make the best of it instead of bewailing their lot. Bewailing our lot causes fear will manifest the things it's afraid of, but it's the fear that's causing them.
Yes.
It's not life. It's not the thing that fear is telling you. It's the fear itself.
Yes.
Our bodies let us know when we're off kilter. Our minds, our emotions let us know when we're out of tune with God, when we're out of flow with the best, because we are all worthy of the best. And it's our job to condition our minds through prayer, affirmation, meditation, all these things to tune in to the best, which is actually the only thing that's real. We are here to do great things and experience life in an amazing way.
Well, now we got to go.
Let's thank our Patreon people. Thank you for tuning in. Each Tuesday we do a Patreon Zoom, More Truth, patreon.com/funniest thing. You guys are supporting the show. You guys are putting us in a position where all these shows are ad-free.
Ad-free.
Plus you're if you benefit from the show, it's just like Darrell and I, we tie it to things that benefit us. It's just part of the process to not be afraid. Actually, when we're feeling afraid, like I called Silent Unity last week, and then I made a tithe right after because I knew that was like an outward indication that I'm not afraid. I'm going to circulate this money. So also, funniest thing, P.O. Box 1312, Culver City, California. You can send us postcards like Kirky did.
We have a good one.
We have
here.
two of them here.
Ooh.
This one came to my house, actually. It's a guy doing a little yoga. But I had just texted Kirky yesterday. Oh, man, I thought of him for some reason, how much I love the guy. And I texted him how much I appreciated him. And then I get to my doorstep, and there's this postcard. It says, "A man who carries a cat by the tail learns something he can learn in no other way. Mark Twain. Drop your cats, man." And what that meant to me is by not running away from whatever was bothering me and realizing I just got to stop carrying the cat by the tail. Like, I got to stop believing these fearful thoughts. And sometimes the only way to do it is just stop running away and get control over your own imagination a little bit. Take responsibility for myself.
Drop the cat.
And then there's this postcard. What does this one say?
He's going to step in a bear trap.
It is tempting to step into the trap. That's another thing about what was bothering me. I realized I'd get a little something, but my old way was I would keep digging into it. Is it real? Oh my God. And then I would make it worse.
Yeah.
So that I would step into the trap by thinking
until
more
it finally comes worse.
Yes.
And then on your tombstone, you could write, "See, I told you something was wrong with me."
That's right. So Kirky said, "You cannot force anything outwardly by the mightiest effort of the will. There's only one way you can command the things you want, and that is by assuming the consciousness of the things desired." Neville Goddard said that.
Okay, we got 3 great breaths, everyone.
Actually, let's thank Chief Engineer Jeff Comfort.
Almost forgot.
He makes that audio podcast sound so good. We love the guy.
You
So
know
do
why
you.
I said that? Because I was thinking of Jeff Comfort, because now I know he gets ready, because this is now always the end of the first segment is the 3 breaths.
Yes. Well, each week
He takes us right into the comfort zone.
All right. This is simple. This is simple and this is truth. The best is the only thing that's real. It's better to forget, which is actually the purest form of forgiving is forgetting entirely.
Yeah.
So let's take a deep
Forgiveness is forgetting.
I make the best of it and forget the rest of it.
I make the best of it and forget the rest of it.
I make the best of it
and forget the rest of it.
What a way to live. What a way to live. Coming up next, actor Rod Sweitzer motivates us to utilize our divine ability to make the best of every situation. With today's reading, miracles occur naturally without worry. Thank you for listening to Funniest Thing with Darrell and Ed, live from Middle School Studios in beautiful downtown Culver City, the heart of Screenland.
Okay.
Bring in Rod. You got a tinkle?
No, I'm ready.
I'm ready too. Thanks to everyone out there in YouTube land. Hey, Barbara Weatherman, great to see you. We're gonna get cooking here.
Rod, tilt your camera down a little. You got too much. No, the other way. Down. There. Well, that's a little too much.
Can't see
Up a
myself.
little.
Hold on, wait. Oh, here we go. How's that?
There you go. Much better.
Perfect.
We got one line today.
Is Rod ready?
I
right.
guess I don't know what I'm going to talk about, but I figure.
Well, you just
worry about
listen.
it.
You're talking about how now you're making the best of it.
It was
Because I
great.
keep
No,
thinking about.
You guys lead off so great. It's
Well, wait. I got so excited.
Well, let's
keep.
talk about it on the air.
Okay, I'll say it on the air.
All right.
Wait, hang on. We gotta make it clear so Jeff knows this is second part.
Okay, good. Yes. All right, welcome back to Funniest Thing with Darrell and Ed. Today's show is called Make the Best of It with actor Rod Sweitzer. Quick reading from Foster McClellan called God Knows the Answer. God knows the answer to every question. He knows the solution to every problem. We live, move, and have our being in Him. We are assured that there is nothing to fear. When problems occur or come our way, we focus our attention on His presence within us, and immediately we receive His help. We're not plotting and scheming. All we have to do is get in touch with the presence. God knows the answer, my friend, and He is always as close as a prayer. Let us abide in the realization that God is living His life through us, guiding us, directing us, and showing us the way to go. God knows the answer. What have we to fear?
Wait. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Actor Rod Sweitzer. Come
on down.
Come on down. How are you, buddy?
Wait.
come on down.
I keep thinking about Rod. Well, he'll probably share more about it. But I keep thinking about you every morning when I do my morning routine. I keep thinking, I hope Rod realizes now that he finally said no from something that has been agonizing in his life and he's stepped out boldly. I just keep seeing, I know it's just a matter of time, probably shorter than longer, where this guy's going to be a regular on one of these shows. And it's going to be like, holy crap, that was the only thing holding him back.
Yeah, that's this is a great one. I mean, the Florence Scovel Shin is one of my favorites. You guys are crazy with the books. It's amazing. I'm so thankful for you guys because I'm always getting these new books. The Foster McClellan, I'm all about that now. And then I have all the Scovel Shin, and I pulled it. Just open it up, and when you pray, believe you have it. When you pray, act as if you have already received. And isn't that it? I mean, yeah, and it's true. It's crazy. I love what you were talking about. You guys covered so many great things. Just talking about the health aspect, right? Because as Darrell was saying, I've kind of been dealing with these, and Eddie was talking about it, this crazy health stuff that kind of happened to me about a year or so ago. I'm in my 50s and I've been very active guy. I mean, I'm doing jujitsu with, which is a very dynamic sport, and surfing and all these sports and stuff. And then all of a sudden, boom, I had all these kind of, seeming problems happen. I walked out of jujitsu. My knee was facing Kansas City, and my leg was facing New York. So that was bad. And then I hurt my back. And as I'm kind of going through these things, I started to really press on it. How do I fix this? What can I do? I got to work on this. I got to fix this, right? Our natural,
Yeah.
our fearful instincts kick in. How do I control it? How do I outline? I'm outlining it. Yeah, if I do this, I'll get this fixed and this will happen. And nothing is happening. I'm just getting more and more frustrated, and then going to doctors, which I can't stand. I was raised in Christian Science. Sorry guys, the trash truck.
It's okay. We can't hear it.
Good. So I don't like going to doctors anyway. So I was trying to come up with all these different solutions, and it's just so crazy how when we're open and we're working with this stuff every day in the morning, we're doing our morning routine, and we're working with all these great principles, these nudges or these things just kind of appear. And so my neighbor, this really sweet lady, I started talking to her, and I said, oh yeah, I hurt my back. It's just been, 8 months or something. I've been dealing with it. And she says, well, here, I got this book. A friend of mine gave it to me. And I was like, oh, okay. And so I got the book, and I kind of laid it. I didn't really think about it. It sat there for a while. And then one day I decided to open this book up. Well, the book is by a guy named John Sarno, who was an NYU spine surgeon, really well-renowned guy, and been a spine surgeon for like 40 years. And he came to see he was, examining all these people, that you could have a back that looks like a train hit it and have no pain. Whereas you could have a back that might have nothing wrong with it at all and be in complete pain. And he came to the realization that it's all in our thinking.
Yeah.
And he wrote this book about how our subconscious thoughts, how our stress is in our lives, how, these worries and these resentments that we may be carrying add to the pain, and this kind of chronic pain that people have to deal with sometimes in our life. And I can tell you guys, as soon as I started to read this book, the pain started to go away.
And what's the title of the book so our listeners
can know? The name of the book is Healing Back Pain, The Mind-Body Connection, which is so incredible because, any of these books are telling you how to fix it, the mechanics of the book and all this crap, right? Well, this really goes back to what we study. It goes back to what we're talking about. It goes back to what am I thinking? Am I going to get better? I'm getting better every day. There's nothing wrong with my life. And Sarno says, yeah, you got to just let that go. When those thoughts come, you got to let those thoughts go, and you got to do what you used to do. Even if it's a little painful, you got to go do some yoga. You got to do these things that bring you joy.
Bring you joy, right? Not to try to fix it. You do the things to do it to feel the joy again in your body.
Exactly. And so what's happened? I'm slowly getting better and better and better. But yeah, it's been a real journey in from what Ed was saying, to like fight it. What's going wrong? What's going on? To use all these principles, which is the best thing, because we just click right into that, right? Because this is what we're studying all the time. And to feel myself getting better and better, and envisioning myself, because I'm a surfer. I've been a surfer for 30 years, and I had to stop surfing. I couldn't do jujitsu, but I'm visualizing myself every day doing these things. Feeling better and better and better. Now I'm back at the gym. Now I'm a month away from getting back in the water. But when I had this happen to me, the way I felt was, man, I'm going to be in a wheelchair in a week.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because that's where my brain will take me to.
Well, also what you're saying, what reminds me about what I'm going through is what I realize is even before the physical stuff, even before you're back and you're like, you were probably, I speak for myself, I was approaching things by thinking I was fixing things. I was doing things to try to get away from things. And like the same mentality was there. It just didn't catch up with me yet. Now you got this thing that won't go away.
Yeah, it wakes us up.
It wakes, like in my case, it was just something so small, but it was something I couldn't shake. And the only way I could shake it was listening to my intuition and letting go, like you're saying. And I like what you're saying too, because the other thing is the energy has to move. And what I was trying to, my gut reaction, no, my fight or flight learned reaction was, I'm going to hold on to all my energy until this pain goes away. But the holding was keeping the energy stuck and keeping the pain around. So I had to do what you're saying, what Darrell was emphasizing, which is I had to switch to doing more things joyfully.
Yeah.
Yep.
Stepping out boldly, not, I'm going to hide now until it all goes away. Nope. Keep living. Find ways to keep in the flow of life. And that is healing me so fast. It's amazing.
It totally goes back to what you're saying and making the best out of it, right?
Yeah.
And that's what's happened for me. Like, it's been a great experience. Who would ever think like this, like, I won't say that on the air, but you would think it'd be devastating. It's been absolutely the opposite, because I've learned so much through the experience, through the journey. And it's great. I've gotten closer to God. Talk about God's law of adjustment. I have to keep my thought aligned all the time, and let God take over all the time. But I've made the most of it in discovering new things about myself, new ways to exercise and to feel good. We have to be malleable. We got to be flexible. I can't box myself in, like you're saying, Ed, right?
Yeah.
I got to be open to these nudges that make me feel good, that bring joy into my life, and I get better and better every day.
Well, you know what else these situations have done for me? They bring me to the point where I have to say no to external things that I've been putting up with or showing up for.
Yes.
Where I would continue to put up with different people or places or situations in my life. This finally got me to the point. I'm not going to do this anymore. I got to tell this person, we're going a different direction. I got to no longer do this anymore. I need to say no to a lot of situations that I was going along with. And then I'm so grateful that it brought me to that point. And you know what? All these spiritual books say that if you're denying in some way, listening to that true you that knows better, that conscience always leads us to our authentic self.
Yeah, you're so right, Darrell. Because of this situation, it made me make a huge move in my life.
Yeah.
Intuitively, I knew, like, this is just not working. I could feel it, right? It was just inside. And as soon as I let go of that, like you say, the pain starts to subside.
Yeah.
These jobs are going to start to come now because I'm a magnet.
That's right.
For good. My vibration now isn't caught up in a bunch of gobbledygook. It's focused, and and I'm joyous.
Yes.
So good things will come my way.
Yeah, it gets me to the point where I can no longer justify things in behaviors or situations or circumstances or relationships that I've kind of been justifying because, they need my help, or, they're not really that bad. They mean well, and I'm not perfect either. It gets me to the point where I got to go, no. And sometimes we all need that. And you know what? Nothing but good always comes of that, of these things, of these situations. In one of these books I just read, I don't know if it was Emma Curtis Hopkins. I think it was Emma Curtis Hopkins, where she says that the spirit of good is always trying to get our attention.
Yeah.
And if we're denying it, well, then it's going to come out in a problem, either physical problem or a material problem.
Yeah.
Until you finally say, okay, I'm going to go along with my higher good now.
Yeah.
And it's always directing us to our higher good.
That's right. Yeah, one of the things that jumped out at me when you guys are talking is one of the things I affirm, which is actually the antidote to scheming, especially when it comes to my health. And Rod was pointing to this, is I remind myself God does the healing.
Yes.
Not me figuring out tinctures and tricks and Like, and it's something I've been learning more and more of, because when I had to, I got to a point a while back where I was scheming and I had tapping on things and doing all this stuff and trying to find the next
Tapping
thing.
method.
My brother thought I was on crack because I picked me up and I was like trying to tap my way out of something. And it's like, he's like, what's
You were
going on,
tapped
bro?
out.
Yeah, and I had tapped out. But I mean, because it was all fear driving the ship and me thinking, now I got the tricks. But the most powerful trick is realizing I don't do the healing. God does the healing.
That's real. That the powerful trick is realizing, like Florence Scovel Shin said, that God's the magician.
And yes, and the other thing is that the same imagination that created this problem, when I start imagining what I do want instead of what I don't want,
Yes.
actually becomes the way out as well. The solution. Like, so I keep talking to that part of me that's like, oh, I'm scared. I love you. We're not going down that way anymore. As soon as you start imagining, as soon as we start imagining more and more what we want, it's all, like, you are the solution. Let's go. Let's get excited. Let's start imagining what we want instead of what we don't want.
Well,
yeah, the palm tree story is perfect because it's like it applies to everything.
Yeah.
Oh God, those guys with a palm tree, they're going to go for hours. They're going to go for hours.
Yeah.
They're going to be done in an hour every time.
Yeah.
In an hour. I go through that all the time with my auditions. I'm like, the bastards are making a bunch of noise out there. But I go, okay, stop it. Let it go. They're going to be gone in 10 minutes. Sure.
Yeah.
Every time.
Yeah.
Every time.
Amazing.
I want to also talk about where you were saying, like, when we're trying to fix the problem psychically and scheme and figure out how I'm going to fix this and get myself out of this, here's the irony. Harvard Medical School, years like the beginning of last century, and Florence Scovel Shin says it, Raymond Charles Barker says it, and Catherine Ponder repeats it. They came up with the theory that there is only one cause of all disease, congestion, and there's one solution, circulation. And we're talking about within our own minds first, because fearful, worried, and scheming thoughts are constricting. I can feel everything go, ugh, and my life gets small. And then I get frustrated and I got to think, I really got to figure this out. Who could I call? What can I do? But I got to realize that is the problem. Doing that is the problem, not the solution. And you know what? It goes along with controlling is the problem, not the solution. I'm trying to control. People think controlling or controlling people are the ones that are running around. No, don't put that there. No. Let me handle that. No, controlling starts with all of us in my own mind as a way of scheming and worrying and scheming. It's me trying to control instead of realizing, wait, I just have to believe that God is the healer and let go of whatever it is I'm doing here in my mind, however way I can. And we're not saying it's easy, but we're saying the solution is simple. The solution's simple, but sometimes we need people we could call or listen to something, a podcast or a guided meditation, and keep repeating it. And that's what they mean by don't give up 5 minutes before the miracle. Some people now get lazy. Don't give up before the miracle. That's not the saying. I love the saying I learned 30 years ago. Dugan would say it. Don't give up 5 minutes before the miracle, because it's telling the truth. The truth is the solution is right here, right now. Don't continue to fret and worry, and it's going to click. You're this close to the healing. You're this close to the prosperous opportunity. It's right here. And the longer you fret, you're pushing it away.
That's
So
why I love
keep
these
believing.
principles so much, because I don't have to do that anymore. And it applies with everything. I mean, especially with my career or with my sales job, I mean, I'm a salesman. Most sales jobs, I do my acting, I do both, but my sales thing is the best job ever because I don't have to do anything, really. I put all my trust in God. completely. I don't get on the phone and hammer people and go nuts and try and do this. And, I do what I got to do, but I would say it's 75% letting go,
Yeah.
letting God, and the other 25% picking up the phone and aligning with, it's like that, I got to expect good and I got to take the action, but
Yeah.
I just got to let go and align my thought with God's, and everything's going to work out great. That's the best thing about my job is I get to do that every day.
Yeah, and you get to see it. You even told me once, I just all I have to do is just do the little bit of indicated action and know that God is doing all the other work. Because
Yes.
as soon as I think you even said this last week, you were talking to us and you said how as soon as I start thinking, this is what you were saying, I'm not probably getting it 100%, but I know what you're saying because I see it in my real life. As soon as I start thinking, ooh, I better make more calls. I better get in there. I should because these other sales guys say this, so I better, and you even said, as soon as I do that, everything shuts down.
Never.
But it never works. And as soon as I just go, nope, you know what? I can't do that. I'm going to trust God is on it. Sure enough, a call will come in. Sure enough, I'll get an inspired idea. Holy cow, I haven't talked to this guy in a while, and I'll make that call, and boom, magic.
And it goes along with the thought too. Oh, they're never going to call. Oh my God.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But as soon as they go, don't worry about it. They'll call. I'll go for a surf, or I'll go.
Yes.
There's 3 messages on my phone.
Yeah. The other night when I woke up and I was like a really panicky feeling, and it was just what Dugan was saying and what you were saying, which is it was so intense. And I had just listened to Abraham Hicks talk about this as well, that like if we feel really negative, it's just an indicator that's how big what we want is trying to knock on our doors, trying to get in big, and it's so close that the resistance hurts even worse. So I was sitting there and I said to myself, I found this new voice within me that I've been practicing. And I said, there is nothing wrong with you, Ed. And all of a sudden, like, the pain was coming from resisting my own good creative energy, because it meant letting go of control and letting go of the fear and letting myself flow instead of fighting against, because if the good is real, anything we're fighting against, we're actually fighting against our good, right? Like in the name of, oh, we got to beat that guy as a salesman, or in the name of, oh no, what if they find out all that stuff? The only thing that's real is good. So the only thing we can ever really be resisting is good. So but it was amazing. As soon as I've been speaking with more authority, it was like the Jesus in the boat. I calmed the storm, and all of a sudden, what felt like hell turned into just, oh, there's nothing wrong with me. And I just went back to bed, and it was just like my whole spirit flowed back into my body, because I didn't realize I had been inadvertently resisting myself. It felt so good to just to stop doing that. So like, if you're feeling something intense, do what Rod's saying. Check in with what are the thoughts behind that intensity. Are those thoughts life-affirming thoughts, or maybe there's some fearful thoughts? Because fearful thoughts are the most arrogant sons of guns. They're going to tell you they know what to do and blah, blah, blah. But you got to just peace be still. Know that I am God. You got to just say, thank you for bringing that up to me. I'm not going to go down. I'm willing to risk whatever you're afraid of, because I know that God is taking care of it right now.
This reading goes perfect.
It's perfect.
So could you read it? Do you have it? Did you print it up? Or did you keep it small so you have to put on your bifocals?
I've got it. Here it is.
All right.
And this is from Florence Scovel Shinn, ladies and gentlemen.
As we both put on our glasses, mind you.
From the book, in case you want to buy it, The Magic Path of Intuition.
Okay, you guys ready?
Yep.
Okay. As I am one with the all-powerful Spirit, I am one with my good, for Spirit is my good in immediate action. Your blessing is already there, waiting for you to believe it is possible to accomplish. Worry and fear will push it away from you. Sometimes a demonstration comes to pass through a counter irritant. A student told me she had wanted a certain business enterprise to be a success. She agonized and fretted over it. Then something else came into her life to worry her, which took her thoughts completely off the business. She forgot to worry about it. Suddenly, she had a telephone message saying the deal had gone over, followed by a large check. She had shifted her worry thoughts long enough for the deal to go through. When you have completely put to flight your worries, there will be nothing to interfere with the immediate manifestation of every good and perfect gift, for your heart's desire is no longer a heart's disease.
Ooh.
The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want.
That is good medicine.
I was telling Fazara about this. Last week, I was going down to surf San Onofre, south of Old Man's. There's a place called Trails. It's a great getaway because, first of all, San Clemente is a beautiful city and it's just south of there. And second of all, you go down these trails and there's not that many people. It feels like you're at a getaway, like Mexico somewhere where they surf or something. And anyway, I went down there, but I used to get a lot of anxiety for some reason on that drive. I know why, because I drive through Orange County where I was raised. All this stuff would come up and I just didn't. I didn't like it. I didn't like actually going there anymore because of this angst that would come up during the drive. But because I've been stepping out boldly and approaching what was this new anxiety, this worry that had been coming up in me, and I had to take, it kept me very present to recognizing, am I believing in fear? Also, am I being loving to the people around me, or am I just thinking about me and this? So it put me into a more loving space. I didn't have one bit of anxiety on the way down or on the way up. It's like God gave me this perfect thing to take my attention off of what I had been worrying and fearing. And it's not just there. It's in so many other areas. I notice if I will address the concern with this little thing, other things that are seemingly unrelated are getting better.
Yes.
Things that if I had tried to make them better, like it's helping me see God's been trying to make all those things better, but I got to realize God does it. Yeah.
No.
Or I was like, no, I'll do these little tricks and I'll do it. It's like, no, we don't have to earn it. We don't have to work for it. We just have to let it flow.
I have to bring myself to it. I have to take the action and then the universe will follow. Or the thoughts.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, we got a great story from when you were a young actor, one of your side jobs.
Yeah. Anything else you want to throw in before we wrap it up?
I did a lot of weird ones.
Yes. Anything else you want to say before we wrap up the show, my friend?
If I expect the best, I get the best. That's all I can say.
That's the truth.
There you go.
And that's what Jesus said. Believe, only believe.
And rejoice always.
Rejoice always in every situation, like the flat tire this morning. I just started, basically what I was doing was just rejoicing in it, knowing this is going to work out in a wonderful way.
That's right, because rejoicing actually puts us in tune with the truth.
Yes.
Rejoicing puts us in tune with the truth. All that other stuff, the seriousness, the fighting, the whatever, that actually keeps us in the illusion of problems which don't even really exist in the mind.
I'm so grateful for this stuff because I feel that vibration right away now. It's just like
instantly.
You go, oh, that's the wrong one. You're gonna get what you're asking for.
Yeah.
So I'm so grateful for you guys. That's for sure, man.
Well,
this is from TMZ, the back files of TMZ. You ready?
Got me again, those bastards.
Well, when Rod was a young actor starting out, he took some side jobs as a handyman. One day he was painting the office of a very successful lawyer in Beverly Hills. When the lawyer came in to check on Rod, Rod was wearing 2 heavy parkas, and it was a hot summer day. Thinking this was a little strange, the lawyer asked Rod why he was wearing the parkas on such a hot day. Rod showed him the instructions on the can of paint.
It says right here, for best results, put on 2 coats.
Oh my gosh.
That's when I was working at Fazzaro's. Is that it?
Well, we want to thank everyone for being part of Funniest Thing with Darrell and Ed. Thank you, actor Rod Sweitzer, for coming on and sharing your truth. Please subscribe, share the show with your friends, hop on the Patreon to support the show. And to illustrate my last remark, Jonah in the whale, Noah in the ark. What did they do just when everything looked so dark?
Man, they said we better
accentuate the positive.
We should have listened to
eliminate the negative. Latch on to the affirmative and don't mess with Mr. In Between. You gotta spread joy up to the maximum. Bring gloom down to the minimum. Have faith or pandemonium liable to walk upon the scene.
Yeah.
It took me a while to remember the melody.
I know.
Nailed
Happened to me
it.
last night. All right. Thank you, everyone.
Rod, we'll text you to see if we're gonna go eat.
Yeah, let me know where you guys are going to eat. I got a pouch for you.
Oh, nice. All right.
Daddy's got a brand new bag. All right.
Daddy's got a brand new bag. Great stuff, guys.